I love printing. I love printing. I love it. I love printing. Hey everybody, I want to welcome you back to another edition of Printer to Printer with me, Warren Werbitt, also known as the Print Whisperer, also known as the guy who loves to fish for tarpon. Thanks for coming back. Really enjoyed doing these interviews with other printers. Today I'm bringing back a printer from about, maybe 2 years ago we last spoke Printer to Printer, and we've got Al Kennickell from the Kennickell Group in Savannah, Georgia. How you doing, Al?
I'm good. Somebody just called me, so...
Well, if that's an order, take it. If that's an order, take it. I'll wait.
I didn't recognize the number, so we'll move on without that one.
All right. How's it going, sir?
Going well, Warren.
Cool. So reason I had you back on is, I always like to talk to you because you're always straight up, and I don't think I met anyone more honest and polite than you. But I know over the last little while, you guys have been doing stuff, and you put in a KM. You're working with the jet varnish machine you have. You're doing your little bit of offset. Your large format's on fire, because I see your post every day.
It is on fire.
It is on fire, eh? You're wrapping fire trucks now and ambulances.
Actually, we do.
I know. I saw ambulances, fire trucks, anything and everything you're wrapping.
Anything that rolls, we'll wrap it.
Only thing I haven't seen you is wrap up somebody's wife and send her off, or husband. But that's another show. So why don't you just tell us what's happening?
Well, Warren, you mentioned it's been 2 years since we did this. And certainly one of those 2 years is one I'll never forget, but would like to. And that is the year of the supply chain issues. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I think this is my 46th
year. Don't tell us. We'll just go with a long time.
Long time. But, I would say that I've enjoyed every year I've been in this business, except for that year. Last year, with always having to come up with supplies and having to order so much stuff and having to tie so much money into inventory and not being able to get what we needed to get and not really getting any answers. It was a very difficult way to have to run an operation and not a lot of fun. But I will say this, we learned a lot. And if we ever had another supply chain problem, we would know from day one exactly what to do, which we did not know exactly what to do from day one. But by, I guess, maybe 2/3 the way through it, we kind of figured out how to do this and how not to go crazy just buying everything in sight. But I'm glad that was behind us. And
I think that, on that point, everybody's learned a lot about supply, when it's bad, when it's good, what's important and what's not. Right?
Yeah.
So,
but hey, thank goodness we have very little of that. I mean, there is still some. I mean, we like one of our suppliers that supplies the laminates we use on wrapping vehicles. They've got now I think they're backed up maybe a month or two, but we were able to find another supplier that had something very similar. And we just bought a tremendous amount of that, which is kind of reminiscent of last year. I don't really like to do that, but we did that because, I mean, we've got right now our backlog for wrapping vehicles and other installation is now into mid-October. So, we got to make sure we get the stuff.
First of all, that's amazing. Second of all, it says a whole lot about your company that your customers are waiting around to get their booking to get it done and that they're not running somewhere else. So kudos. And if I had clapping behind me and a whole audience, I'd let it go off because that's one of the nicest things I think I've heard lately.
Well, I got to tell you, Warren, it's interesting in talking to the folks that run that department. The question I asked them is, why are people willing to wait? Because nobody would wait for a printing job like that. But I think
most of us wouldn't wait for anything that long.
Right. But I think that at least in this part of the country, the folks that are in other markets besides ours, I understand that they've got some fairly deep backlogs. So I think it's much more common than it is uncommon. But we're looking at what I'm telling my folks is, look, if we can take that backlog And let's say instead of we'll finish all this stuff up in October, if we could finish it up in September, think of the additional dollars we would bill uh, during a month. So we're trying everything. We're looking to bring kids in here from maybe smart kids out of high school and do some internships. I ran radio ads in Savannah
Wow.
saying, "Hey, we will train you. This is a great field." Wrapping vehicles and doing installs is
Did,
not
did you
something anybody can do.
no, did you get a response to the radio ads?
You know what? Not very well. Not much of a response. But we also have we're going to put on a school where we're going to have like a 3-day school, or maybe it's going to be just 2 days over the weekend, and we're inviting people to that where we're actually going to do hands-on training. We'll see how that goes, but we really want to get some folks.
So I have a suggestion. Radio ads could be for older people, but maybe you need some social media ads on Facebook and or Instagram and or Snapchat, because
No,
that's where,
let me say this. My daughter,
yeah.
she is young and she's got all those covered.
Okay, great.
So we're not leaving a single stone unturned. I mean, it's like this. We got good backlogs, and it's nice to have good backlogs. Our clients are okay to wait. But if you look at it like this, if you had a printing press that ran 5,000 sheets an hour, and all of a sudden it could now run 10,000 sheets an hour, think of what more you bill. And so we're looking at how to increase throughput, and we're looking at it at every aspect. Because I mean, we still have 40-inch offset. We still have we have a KM1, high-speed inkjet device. So we really have almost like two different businesses. We have the printing business and we have the wide format business, and there's not that much crossover, but they're both very interesting. Printing is still a little tougher than wide format, but printing is pretty good right now. So I really don't have a lot of complaints.
Great. How's your KM1?
It's really doing well. I mean, it's a good machine.
Is it everything you thought it would be from what they said?
Yeah, I would say this, that if there was a printer in my market, a direct competitor of mine, and he had a high-speed inkjet press, and I'm going to throw the J press in there as a very viable piece of equipment. If I had a competitor that had a high-speed inkjet and I didn't, I would be very concerned, because there is a lot of stuff we can do on that device that offset just can't compete with. So yeah, it's been great. It's great.
I also think customers are more open to suggestions and solutions today. When it affects the money they spend, or having to spend a little less, or spending a little more to be more targeted and get it out quicker.
Yeah, I tell you, Warren, I can tell you that one of the niches for high-speed inkjet is if a client's doing 5,000 24-page brochures, get them to do maybe 2,500 and do it twice, because the unit cost of doing 2,500 on an inkjet device is not going to be that far off of doing 5,000 on offset. Then the client has the ability to make changes. You don't have to worry about throwing stuff away. And quite frankly, when we get the quantities in that range, offset really can't compete. So we're trying to make it to where we have less competition, not more.
Yeah, for sure. It's listen, I think customers today, everyone says it's not always about the price. Price is always the first thing they bring up. But my experience is, when you get in front of a customer and you could have a meaningful conversation where they could understand what you're saying, that's when the price becomes less important.
Yeah.
I think the price is used to weed out the the not so smart salespeople or the order takers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. In fact, some people just don't want to do business with somebody. They don't want to say, "Hey, Warren, we don't really want to do business with you," because that would offend you. But they can say, "Warren, your price is too high."
Right.
Now,
Well, they
it's not
probably
your
say
fault.
that
It's
anyways.
the company's fault, not your
Right.
fault.
Right. Well, and even salespeople need to know when to take it and when to pass it on to the company. Right. Good guy,
Yeah.
bad guy. It's it's I think the smart folks out there are doing better. The ones who realize that they have to make changes. I don't think the industry is where you could just sit and watch things happen anymore, because when you finally do wake up, you're going to have a hard time, I think, doing things when you haven't started others before, right? Because then you try to play catch up.
Yeah, you know, Warren, I was thinking about this today because I knew we had this call coming up. Uh, once again, I'm not going to say how long I've been doing this, but I've been doing it a long time. But what I'm hammering into my kids' heads, and because I got two kids in the business, is you're not going to improve your business by sitting in your office. I said you've got to be on a constant quest for knowledge. So all the years I've been doing this, I went to the wide format summit, and I learned a good bit there. I just got back from the Fuji Digital Summit that was in Chicago. I got back from that last night. I learned stuff there. I'm going to Print United. I sign up for almost every WebEx that's on whattheythink.com.
Me too.
I sign up for almost every one of them because I got to tell you, some of the best ideas I've ever had in my business career were ideas I learned from somebody else. And, why wait around for brilliance to strike when you can just go out there and find where it's already struck and copy what somebody else did?
Oh, listen, from the day I started in business, I never thought I was the smartest guy in town. Probably people would agree with me. But when I started, it was more not knowing anything, surrounding myself, with people that were smarter than me. People tell you that all the time when you're young. The older folks tell you that when you're young to know. Then I joined peer groups, and we were in a peer group together.
Right.
And I went to every show that came up. I went anywhere that I can to listen and hear. I'm a better listener than writer, and visually it's easier. But I didn't have the time to make those mistakes, nor did I have the money to make the same mistakes.
Right.
Right. And a lot of what I picked up was what I heard around, or I put things together, what those people are not doing, which gave me the idea of what to do. And I'm just surprised that there aren't more people going to more and watching more. Like, even if you go to Print United, and if it costs you $4,000 between your airfare, your hotel, your food, and whatever else, it doesn't take more than a couple great ideas to go back and market something new, try something new to get it back tenfold. What I will tell you is, if people don't go to the show, I think they're wasting $4,000 right off the bat because they're leaving something on the table.
Yeah, and I tell you something else too. There's several ways you can learn at these shows. Like obviously at Print United, there'll be a number of vendors there. There'll be, I'm sure, a lot of presentations being done. So you can walk around and pick up knowledge and stuff like that. But what I try to do is I try to listen to people asking questions in presentations, things like that. And I try to identify who I think is smarter than I am and who might have some really great ideas. And then I befriend them. And, and I'm willing to share anything that I have with them. And I find that they're usually willing to share with me. Now, I wouldn't, do this with a competitor who is right next door, but, there's people from all over the country going to these things. Like when I was in Chicago at the Fuji Summit, I met two or three folks that I'm going to stay very much in touch with. I also met a couple of guys that just bought printing companies that had not been in this industry. And I said to them, here's my card. I've seen it all. If you got a question or something, pick up the phone and call me. I think it's great that almost all of us are willing to help each other out.
Well, my sign in the back says owner to owner is a different kind of conversation. So I get salespeople and competition and everything, but I would talk to any owner, even the guy on the corner where I was, because I was never worried about him copying what I do, right? But it was more important to have those conversations because it's important that both companies remain viable, profitable, and in business. The customers might not think so, but they benefit by the more print companies that are around doing other things and, stepping up all the time. You got to get rid of the paranoia. But when you help somebody, first of all, when you help someone, you feel great. They feel great. And if they pay it forward and help somebody else, then that's what it's all about, right? Life's really small, but there's no way maybe other than my ex-wife, that you could know it all. And I'm making a joke, by the way, because she is the best woman on the planet. You got to make the jokes when they come up. But people must help people for the world to survive. And I'm feeling right now that the earth is a little angry with us between all the fires and the disasters and what people are thinking and doing. I almost feel the whole world has to come together, not in a COVID way, but in another way where we're just big chain of holding hands and saying, humans first
Yeah.
and live life first. And then we can get back into the rat race a little.
Yeah.
But
Hey, another thing that that's kind of interesting that is, we're all hearing about AI, and my kids now, when they're trying to figure out an email that they need to write, a very important email, they're using AI to help do that. They're using the AI to help write letters. Uh, I we had a few questions that we were trying to figure out, and I said, try AI, and we kind of got the it's an AI. I can't remember what it is, but you pay like we
$20.
paid $20. Yeah,
Chat GPT.
yeah. It's one of the advanced ones, but that's something that I probably, if my kids didn't start doing it, I probably would just have ignored it completely. I have a feeling that, like, I pulled it up on my computer today, and I said, you know what, I got to spend some time with this because it I think it's a much better tool than many people realize. So I think that if somebody's listening out there and they have not tried it, where you simply can just ask a question or what, I asked a financial question and it gave me what I thought was a tremendously good answer. So,
Oh, I think
don't sleep on AI.
no. First of all, I've used it from the day it came out. It helps me. It helps me get the ideas out of my head into paper because I'm not the best writer, and they swirl. But I will tell you and everybody else, be very careful with the AI. It's not a copy paste because when you copy paste, people know what they're reading. They could tell the sense of how it is, and you gotta move it up and make it a little bit in your own words.
Yeah, we just look at it, and it kind of gives us some general ideas.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
might out of 20 sentences, we might use 8 of theirs, but the rest of them is going to be ours. Because I mean, some of the stuff you don't want, but some of the stuff you go, that was pretty obvious. How did I miss that one?
And it just makes it easy in front of you and saves you that hour of sitting there and trying to pull it out in a certain
Yeah,
way. But yeah, you have to be careful though, because I mean, I hear people talking about loss of jobs. It's not taking away jobs from writers, because the writers who write, you still need that feeling, you still need that creative. AI is a machine still.
yeah,
Maybe there'll be an Arnie movie in a few years where it's not a machine, right? But all those movies that we used to watch seem to be coming to fruition these days. All the moving parts, the flip phones, the fastness, right?
oh yeah,
It's crazy. So the other thing you've been working on a lot is with some embellishments.
yeah. We got the jet varnish device from Konica Minolta when we bought the KM1, and honestly, we were so focused on the KM1 because it's a much bigger investment. We really didn't. We didn't really put forth the effort to really understand what we had with the jet varnish. And I'm going to give you guys a plug. Uh, Tactiful, which is you and your partner Kevin.
Kevin Abergel, for those who aren't sure.
Yeah, you guys. That 8-week course that you guys gave us. I'm going to be very honest and say that you know it completely changed the way we're going after new business now. And I don't want to just tell everybody what I'm doing because I don't want to share that.
No, and then you'll put me out of work.
Yeah, but we learned a lot from you guys, and I would just say, and I'm not trying to just be just a wonderfully nice guest, but I would say that if anybody's got any kind of embellishment equipment, you should check out Tactiful. Warren and Kevin really was best money I've spent in a long time.
Cool, cool. Listen, Kevin and I's objective really, between the printer and the suit, knowing what we both know on both sides, is really try and help every print company be successful with what it is that they're doing. Embellishment, specialty toner, print, it is the way of the future. I mean, and if anybody's interested, I'm going to do a plug, but we have studies for sale from the specialty, ink toner study, where we know what printers are doing. We know, I could tell you this, just about everyone who has a specialty printer, varnish, or ink is really loving it and enjoying the profits and the different things that you could do. What we're finding a lot of people need is just a little bit of instruction on how to get it started and go, because they don't all have that.
Well, I mean, we learned that, we grossly underestimated the value of this tool. And, there's certain things that we understand now that we just didn't before, and nobody really told us. But, if you're going to get into it, make sure you find somebody like Tactiful or whoever
There is
else.
nobody else but Tactiful. No, and I say that not to be funny. We know
Right.
that we right now are the only ones doing that.
Well,
And then, so I have a question. In your career of purchasing equipment, do the manufacturers, I'm smiling because you know what's coming, do the manufacturers in general go above and beyond in teaching, explaining how their machines work? Or do they give you the basics? Which, and I don't think they should be teaching everybody all that, because it's kind of like when you go buy a car, asking the salesman to teach you how to drive the car. But where do you think maybe, or why does a Tactiful fit in to helping you get to where you got, and showing you, teaching you what you know?
well, I'm going to say that the jet varnish is a different animal from all the other stuff we in the printing industry buy. I mean, when we're buying printing presses or inkjet devices or digital presses, we all know what they do. Some can do certain things a little bit better than other things. But when you get into embellishments, it's not obvious. I mean, it's not obvious what you can do, because if it was obvious, some of the stuff we're doing now that we got from you guys, I would have been doing it a year ago. So it's when you get into something that's somewhat new, uh, I'm not even sure that the guys selling it really know everything about it. I mean, you guys had a tremendous advantage because, Kevin's family actually were the ones that
Built it.
created MGI. So nobody in the world knows more about that than you and him. So, but once again, it's another case where always seek knowledge and try to learn from other people, because, if you just, like I tell people here in my company, don't rely on 5 years of experience for you to get where you need to go. You need to get there in 6 months, and you
Or
can
less.
do, or less. Yeah. And you can do that because there are so many places out there where you can find information. I mean, for instance, if you're just trying to improve your skills as a salesperson, go to YouTube and type in whatever problem you're having.
Warren Werbitt. No, I'm just kidding.
Type in whatever you like, closing the sale or handling objections. I mean, you can watch, 20 videos on a Saturday morning, and man, you go to work Monday, you're ready to go out there and sick them. So,
Oh, without a doubt. Listen, I remember, and I'll keep telling the story. When I bought that $5 million KBA UV, I knew nothing about UV. No one in my company, no one where I lived in the area knew anything UV. At the UV conference, which is put on every year at the Win, I met Kurt Koenig, who was a UV guy for 20 years, and I paid him for 1 month to come down and live in our place and show us. And that 1 month, that one investment of whatever, $20,000, put me a year and a half ahead, and
yeah,
probably saved me tens of thousands of dollars of material in testing,
yeah. I mean,
right?
that's exactly what I'm talking about. I will say this: we bought, a fair amount of equipment here in the last couple of years, and the suppliers have been. If I said, "Hey, we need some more training," we're just not picking up as fast as we thought or whatever, and they've all been very willing to send people in. I mean, I know it costs money to do that, and I've already bought the equipment, but I got to tell you, these suppliers have been more than willing to help in training. Now, that's a different thing than the knowledge you need when you're trying to do embellishments, because honestly, I think everybody in this industry is just now figuring it out. I mean, we learn something new every day because, I mean, there is no obvious thing you do with a particular job. You look at it, and it takes collaboration and things like that. But actually, just hey, my guys are taking too long to set up this stitcher or this whatever, and but they're all willing to bring them in to help us out, and I really appreciate that.
Cool. Yeah, listen, it's what it's all about, man. It's we got to learn, we got to pass it on, we got to share. When you talk about embellishments, by the way, anybody who actually is listening and made it this far to the end, if you're doing embellishments, please don't give it away. Embellishments are the value add that whether you know it or not, and I'm happy to explain it to you one-on-one. When your customer does stuff with embellishment and they put it out for sale, that stuff checks out faster than the other stuff. So they're doing well. So you're allowed to do well at the same time. So don't give it away. You have to show the value of it all the time. And it could be digital embellishments. It could be cold foil. It could be hot foil, hot stamp. You call it whatever you want, the shine, the glitter, the bling, print bling. But don't give it away, please. I'm begging you. And if you do, I'm coming to find you. No, I'm not. I don't have time for that.
Just let me just say to everybody out there, please don't give anything away, because if people start giving stuff away, it makes it harder for the rest of us. And we all need to make sure we keep the pricing where it should be. We're not gouging anybody, but we shouldn't be selling something at a price where we can't make enough money to pay our folks and buy new
keep reinvesting in the new equipment and technology that everybody wants.
Yeah. Amen.
Right? Okay, we're going to end this on that note. Don't lower your prices. Al, as always, pleasure to have you on. Thank you. I'm thrilled that you guys are in a great place doing what you're doing. Super love the fact that Casey and Andrew are in there with you, and soon you won't have to come in every day.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Exactly. I'll come down, go fishing with you. To everybody else, again, really hope you enjoyed the conversation. Hope you always enjoy the conversation. If anybody would like to converse with me, would like to come on Printer to Printer, would like to talk on the side, I'm always available. I'm always free. Otherwise, Warren Werbitt, what they think, and I love print.